Season 2, let's go. What's up, everybody? I am your host, LeVar Huggins, with co-host Victor Robinson Jr. Welcome to Let's Drop Jewels with my hitter and go-getter, Mujahid, and we are brothers-in-law. Welcome to the podcast that's intended to educate, motivate, and inspire the world. For more information on brothers-in-laws, you can follow us on Facebook at Brothers Law and on Instagram at Bros-in-Laws. And if you would like to contact us, you can email us at brosinlaws@gmail.com. And now it is time to open your ears and receive these jewels we about to drop on y'all. What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's going on,
what's
everybody?
Going on? Sam, what's going on with you, Sam? You doing all right today, Sam?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
How's
That's good.
Going?
All right, Sam. So,
yeah, it's a great day today, right? Like, got a great guest here. Sam, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to meet you, brother. To come here and join us today. We got what, second season?
Second season. That's it. Second season.
Good.
So, Sam, before we get on here, I'm gonna give some facts to the listeners. Okay. These are some things that I didn't even know. Boys are about 4 times more likely to develop autism spectrum disorder than girls. About 1% of the world's population has autism spectrum disorder. Prevalence in the United States is estimated at 1 to 59 in birth. More than 3.5 million Americans live with autism spectrum disorder. Autism is also known as Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, has a range of mental disorders dealing with the neurodevelopment. It includes Asperger syndrome as well as autism. Those who experience these disorders sometimes have difficulties performing daily tasks that comes easily for most. But with proper diagnosis and proper developmental treatment, these individuals can exceed in all areas. Our guest today did just that. His high school year, media became an interest and later on started his own podcast. Later, he was nominated into the Society of Cultural Podcast Top 10. He's here to tell his story about his struggles and his achievements while dealing with ASD. Welcome to the podcast today, Sam Mitchell.
Yep. Thank you again for having me. Good to be here.
Yes, Sam. Sir. We appreciate you for being here, Sam. We appreciate you very much for being here, Sam. Sam, so tell me, what was life like during high school and, socially and academically?
Academically, it was great. Socially, that's on another whole ball game. Socially, it was definitely a bit of a difficult time for me. Right. I definitely had a lot of struggling with following conversations. I still do sometimes, but it's kind of died down. It kind of dies down as I get older, I guess. But in reality, I struggle with that. But also, I struggle with sometimes math. Never have been a math person. I didn't like math personally. I still don't. But I got through it, and we did it. I'm not taking any math sometime soon. We'll say that. So I'm definitely doing that. Right. I struggle with anxiety for the past, since I was born. So that's another struggle on mine. Right. I have what I call FIMS, foot and mouth syndrome, where you say something to the wrong person at the wrong time. Right. And then you don't make plan B. Sometimes that's another one. And then I have really bad sensitive feelings. I don't mean internally, outernally. I don't like to wear a wet shirt or anything that has a button that you sit on. Right.
So Sam, where are you from?
Indiana, sir.
Indiana. What part of Indiana?
Southern Centralish.
Okay.
So Sam being a young man, Sam, you were what, 19?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Sam's being 19 years old, and this is a very special podcast simply because we're looking at what our future entails. And Sam, again, congratulations on all your achievements and your accomplishments and what you do for society. As a young man, we talked about the early parts of your school years as a young man, as you develop ways to kind of overcome this, or not overcome, but kind of navigate with your challenges. What advice or what memories can you share with us that really kind of stood out to you, to where you said, you know what, this is a challenge, but I'm gonna overcome it. Like I'm gonna put forth some great effort to kind of overcome this thing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, every day was a sort of a challenge, but you got to the point where you had enough is enough, basically, and you were basically saying you don't care anymore, and your crapometer basically goes down.
Absolutely.
And that's what helped me big time, is doing that, and I would definitely say I'm a lot of a better person than I once was.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Sam, so growing up, what was your inspiration? Who was your, superhero, so to speak?
Heroes, growing up I got the honor of meeting him. 4 times. He's actually a good friend of mine now. Mick Foley.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me about the time in your life when you just said, you know what, I'm not going through this anymore, and you felt like you had something to prove to the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah, and I still do.
Right.
I still do. Because I want to prove to people, hey, I've been through this bogus crap that I've dealt with for 15 years.
Right.
I've held all this negativity. It's time to change that. You finally hear enough negativity, it gets to you, and you finally have enough. To this day, mentally, all I hear is negativity, and it's weird to hear positivity sometimes.
Right. Well, Sam,
I'm so used to the opposite.
Right. Well, you sure did change me, Sam, because I had the wrong stigma of autism. I was like just unaware of what it was and how you can actually overcome it. So you definitely have proved that to me, because I did listen to an episode on your podcast with Lonnie Bedwell. Yep. Am I saying it correct?
Yeah. You're saying it right.
A pretty good podcast, man.
Thank you. We've known him for a while. My mother knows him well. He speaks at my local school.
Right.
So he's came in for a long time, and that's how we met. Really, he's definitely a pretty cool guy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so Sam, again, this is a tremendous, topic, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of it. I think there's a lot of light being shined on it now. What have you seen in the times from beginning to now? What things have you seen change to kind of help and assist you with overcoming or dealing with autism?
Well, this is kind of to answer the whole question, really.
Right.
We went from being institutionalized to being aware of it. Now, I'm not saying that is a big step, because believe me, that's a step. But we're not to the step of accepting it yet. We're still trying to get there, and that may be a while. But I hope to see the day before I go 60 and under that we are accepting, or much more of an accepting community, to say the least.
Absolutely. And with that under acceptance, have you experienced any form of discrimination or anything like that? Because I know the government and the states have placed things in place to kind of assist with employment and things like that. So not personally, no, but I've heard it. I don't like when people use the R word on someone. I hate it to this day. Absolutely.
It's funny, I'm a sailor mouth, but that's the one where I will never say I want to find it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Sam, where do you see yourself 2 years from now, Sam?
Definitely going to Vincennes for either media or entrepreneurship, and I'm transferring there.
Okay. What school? What school you have in mind?
Vincennes, Vincennes University.
Vincennes University, and that's located where in Indianapolis?
Vincennes, Indiana.
Indiana? Okay.
Yeah. And then the one I'm at right now is in Ivy Tech. That's in Bloomington, Indiana, which is like a not far where I'm from.
Okay.
Good. And you know, again, Sam, you've been such a young man, and you know, coming from high school into college and things like that. Talk to us about some of the stresses that maybe the parents, for our parent listeners, some of the stresses and issues that came about, and then just kind of talk about some things that may have assisted your parents with dealing with it.
Well, as far as the parents go, I can only speak as a 19-year-old son growing up. If I was a parent, I would give you an answer. But if you let me go get my mother, she might be able to tell you.
Absolutely.
That's fine, Sam.
I mean, I think that's great for the conversation. We get a lot of adult parents listening to these situations and in the podcast. So, what an impromptu, you know, let's see what we can get from this, and we want to make sure that it's beneficial to the entire audience, man. It's real good, man.
Yeah. Sam is a very intelligent guy. He does podcasting himself. Matter of fact, he was, like I said, he was nominated in the Society of Culture podcast top 10, and he got some other achievements that he would like to tell you.
Right.
I'm gonna give him a moment to tell you about his achievements, because you know, it's shocking to me, you know.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, again, you know, this is what makes Brother-in-Law somewhat of a unique podcast. Right. You know, we're here to educate, to teach, and to motivate. And this is one of those conversations where there's not a lot of, there's a lot of information out there, but I don't think a lot of people really take time to discuss it.
Right. You know, talk about it. Not even discuss it, you know, even to go into.
He's coming, don't worry.
Hey, all right, Sam, welcome back.
Sam, are you there?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi.
We're gonna give it. How you doing?
Yeah, this is my mother.
Hi.
Hey, Mom.
How you doing, Mom?
How are you?
Good to see everybody. I'm Gina.
How you doing, Gina?
Hey, welcome to the Brother-in-Law podcast. We have your great son, Sam on. We have our host of our Huggins here, co-host Victor Robinson. And we asked a very specific question because, you know, we have a different audience, and we wanted to kind of talk about obviously autism and the challenges and the stresses of it. And I wanted to get a parent's perspective. Talk to us about some of the stressors that come with that and some of the things you did to kind of manage those stresses.
Well, so Sam was diagnosed. I don't know how much he's told you.
I told you the diagnosis. I think I told you the diagnosis.
Okay, so he was diagnosed when he was 4, and we had, you know, it was pretty classic textbook autism, but we had some signs, you know, that we probably thought he was. My philosophy on it is that all children are pretty difficult to raise. I don't care.
Right.
Like,
I agree.
who it is.
We all probably agree. I have 4.
Yeah. So, you know, so, but when you throw special needs on top of that, there are different challenges. And I say different because our challenges aren't necessarily any harder than what the next person. We may not have to, you know, I don't want to say deal with it, but we may not have the same challenges. And so with our challenges, a lot of times it was Sam hated his routine.
Right.
He hated his routine messed up, and he kind of still does. He didn't like loud noises. He had a really hard time communicating with people. I mean, he was very expressive, but his receptive language, he still to this day has a really hard time. It's like a processing thing. Like the information comes in, and then sometimes it processes differently.
It won't come out sometimes.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And as Sam has gotten older, he's, you know, pretty blunt. I'm pretty blunt too. I mean, he comes from a pretty outspoken family, but we still, being non-autistic, we still know, like, oh, okay, probably shouldn't say that in this setting. Like in a different setting, maybe. But he really struggles with figuring that out, like figuring out how to socially do that.
Well, from my point of view, you know, Sam is a very intelligent guy. I mean, Yes, you're very intelligent. I listened to his podcast and I fell in love with it.
He likes Lonnie's.
Oh, Lonnie's,
yeah. I told him about the story with you meeting Lonnie.
Yeah, Autism Rocks and Rolls.
Well, I have to say, though, I 100% agree with you. But even the most intelligent people, so like Einstein probably had autism.
Right.
Still Mozart, there was record.
Right.
Bill Gates is probably on the spectrum. So intelligence is a whole different thing, but and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, we celebrate autism in our home and with his podcast, and I always have encouraged him to be him no matter what. I mean, I have it tattooed on my skin that says "Be you." Sam's initials, so it definitely is important to us. So,
Miss Gina, so when things get hard, they get a little challenging for a parent. Talk to us, about some ways you kind of woosah, kind of regain your composure, because obviously you understand the big picture and things can be a little challenging. So, just really throw out a few pointers and things out there. If the parents are listening who have kids that may be struggling with this.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I feel like we have figured things out through the years. We've not, by all means, we've not done things perfectly.
Right.
I always say that we're the expert of our story, because I know families that have a diagnosis of autism that have had a completely different experience. But a couple of things that I've always thought of is with all kids, and especially kids with special needs and autism, you have to pick your battles. Right. And I know that it's kind of cliche, and, we kind of all know that, but especially with people on the spectrum, I mean, there were times I remember when Sam, and he still does, refused to wear blue jeans. And I always use that example because I was like, okay, you're going to wear blue jeans. Right. Like, you have to do that. You have to. And then I backed up and thought, wait a minute, why? Right. Why does he have to wear jeans? So
there's substitutes for it. I'm wearing khakis. I'm wearing khakis
right now, right? Like khakis is a good substitute.
Exactly. So you just have to, there were non-negotiables in our house. There's still non-negotiables with him living here. But, I didn't care really what he wore, but we don't tolerate disrespect. And that never tolerated. It's not tolerated at all. Absolutely. And so that wasn't negotiable, but things like that, but just things that you can be like, okay, we can figure it out.
We can figure that out. We can manage that.
And let it go.
Yes,
absolutely. And one more question before we let you go, Ms. Gina, then we're going to get back to Sam on this one. Before the diagnosis and the education that you have now, can you look back and say, okay, like I saw signs and symptoms or things like that, or was this kind of like a surprise to you once the diagnosis was given?
No, it was no surprise. No surprise. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. And I have been for 17 years. And so I teach language arts 8th grade, and I have for a long time. And so I've had differently abled students come through my room, thousands of them at this point. And I don't have a degree in autism or special needs. I have a master's in education. I have social studies in English as a bachelor's, and then I'm like working on other grad work. So I have like the college education, but I've never studied like special needs. So I don't claim to have that. But yeah, I knew just from being an educator, I had kids on the spectrum come through. And I remember my husband and I were sitting on the couch, and Sam was 2, and he had lined up all of his toys from one end of the house to another, like in a perfect symmetrical like line. And I remember we said, I wonder if he has autism. And my husband said, no, he's too smart for that. And now we know, okay, most people on the spectrum are very, very smart.
Right.
So he lined up his toys. He hated loud noises. He never looked at the camera. When I look back at pictures when he was a baby, never, ever looked at the camera. He, even at some point as he was learning to talk, he was very late with talking. He even had like a monotone voice, like there wasn't a lot of inflection.
Right.
And now I can kind of say I remember that. So those are the things that I saw.
I never noticed that personally.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. I'm not like saying that's a negative thing. I'm just saying that processing wise, that's how a lot of people have to process that. So.
Well, Gina, you got anything you want to add on?
No. We want to thank you, Miss. We want to thank you, Mom.
If you guys there,
absolutely.
Yes, we want to thank you, Mom, for giving your input. We thank you very much for that.
We appreciate
you. We appreciate you very much. Very much.
Not a problem. Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for talking to Sam. I know we think he's pretty awesome here, and he's got a really awesome story to tell. So,
yes.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
All right. Thank
Sam.
You.
Yeah, you're welcome, Benny.
So, Sam, tell us a little bit about your podcast and, what sparked your interest in media.
Yeah, so it's called Autism Rocks and Rolls. It is about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Right. It really started after I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it afterwards. So I think the only way to continue my media skills was to start my own podcast, and that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
Yes, and it's a great podcast. Sam, I actually listened to it. Might become I'm a fan.
Yes,
yeah. So you keep that going and continue to aware people of what autism is because a lot of people are unaware of it. Like me myself, I was very unaware of it. I known about it, but I didn't really have the depths of it.
You didn't hear about it in depth.
What's that?
Got it. So you didn't hear about it in depth.
Oh
well, I didn't know. I didn't have too much information on it. Is what I'm saying.
And it's always good, it's always good, to reach out and have people like yourself who very, very much so understands it and have the ability to kind of communicate it to to the rest of the world. And so, Sam, as again, the way you talk about it and how passionate you are about getting other people to understand it. What does it look like, on a day-to-day basis for you when you're dealing with people that, your friends and the people that you network with, what does that look like for you? You have days where, hey man, I'm not really feeling it, or during times where it gets more difficult for you. Talk to us about how do you shift your mind? Like how do you go from here?
I'm a pretty social person, but the rule is I gotta have at least just maybe 5 to 10 minutes of get away from me.
Right. We all do.
Man, I need that piece
there.
I'll socialize, but you got to give me those 5 minutes or you're going to be pretty.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty.
Right.
Yeah, I like it, man. That's something I can probably use myself. Hey, give me 10, man. Yeah, let me get 10 minutes.
So getting back to the podcast, Sam, how did it feel being nominated into the Society of Cultural Podcasts, top 10 at that? How did that feel?
Well, we've entered some awards here.
Right.
And I was expecting just a type of name because I found it on Gmail. I was like, oh, cool.
Right.
Let's enter it. I don't get it, but what the heck? So here we are, Autism Rocks and Rolls. And then we haven't heard from them. Fast forward, I get a message that says, you have been selected. I thought, best health and fitness or something. Not society and culture. I thought,
right.
Okay, and I want to make sure it was real.
Right.
Well, I got chosen, and then they voted for the finals, I guess we can call it, or semifinals, and here we are. I'm in society and culture. That's what it truly is.
So
that's what happened.
Oh, okay. But you did receive some other achievements besides that, right, Sam?
I placed. I done a TED Talk. That's a huge achievement.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. I done a TED Talk called Sold Structure. It's about why autistic people need structure.
Right.
We had to do it virtually because of the pandemic, but it was still went great, and we did it, and it went well.
You said it went well? Can you hear me, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm right here. I said it went well.
Right. Okay. Sam, can you hear me, Sam?
Yep.
Okay. So Sam, tell me a little bit about. Tell me a little bit about maybe your social life. You got a girlfriend right now? Are you involved with anybody?
Sadly, no, but I wish. Let's put it that way.
I mean, it happens, Sam. It's all about timing.
Hey, you got
it's all
time.
about timing.
You got time.
I'm just letting you down.
It's somebody for somebody. Somebody for everybody.
Take your time for sure, man.
Yeah, take your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I always believe that. Love is love, bro.
You think about making a family one day, maybe?
Maybe. I'm kind of like 50-50 with that.
Right.
I'm kind of happy either way. To be honest with you.
Well, Sam, I'll tell you what, take your time.
No problem.
Hey, look, because at 19, I don't think I was thinking about making a family. I was more so.
Sam, you know what? That didn't even cross my mind, Sam. I totally forgot about your age because you seem so mature, Sam. I totally forgot about your age because you seem so mature. What's that?
Thank you. I said thank you, but I'm just going to warn you right now. You'd be surprised at half the stuff I do when the cameras aren't when like Zoom cameras aren't around.
Well, what do you do, Sam? Tell us. Inform us on what you do when the camera's not around.
He's like, no, I can't put it all on the table.
I'll tell you. Well, basically anything with parts, they're funny to me. I'll admit, like, I know that's like a human basis, but to me, it's extreme. Anytime someone mentions a bathroom humor, anything like that, I fall down on the floor.
Right. So I heard you say that you was going to attend college later. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, are you planning? Is everything planned out, or how that?
Yeah, I'm in it right now. I'm at the Ivy Tech in Bloomington.
Oh, you're already in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how's that going for you?
Going good. Can't complain really. I mean, I'm gonna go in person at first because of anxiety with the pandemic, but I'm in person now, and it's a lot better. So,
how do you actually get over your anxiety? When you're feeling anxiety at that moment, what things do you do at that moment to maybe calm yourself down or whatever?
Yeah, college is a lot, man.
Yes,
it puts a lot of pressure on you, making good grades, academics.
I don't know how I do it. I don't think that's the time. The honest answer is I don't. I really just try to get through it and just try to get through it with panicking or without, hopefully. Depends how bad the situation is, and family.
Right.
Well, I'm quite sure your family is a great support to you, right, Sam?
Oh, yeah. I definitely got some good support with the family. I wouldn't deny that.
Right. And I like how you quickly said that. Like, I don't let it, stun me. I don't let it paralyze me. I quickly see it and I overcome it. You just have a great mindset. And that's something that we oftentimes kind of talk about on the podcast, is developing that growth mindset, really being able to see our challenges and say, hey, you know what, no matter the disability or whatever the situation may be, I'm put together to overcome. So, I commend you for that, Sam.
Thank you.
So, Sam, this is off the wall, Sam. Do you have any religious beliefs? Any type of religion beliefs?
No. I ain't that type of person.
Right. So you're
I'm not. I guess an atheist, if you want to call that. I'm kind of laid back with religion. I'm not Christian, Jew, Muslim, Buddhism, nothing like that.
Okay, that's by your choice.
Yeah, by my choice.
By your choice. Okay.
Excellent. Hey, and so on this side of North Carolina, man, to Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, I see.
Yeah, so this season here, are you a country boy, Sam? You like to get out there in the woodline a little bit?
Oh gosh, yes, brother. I live right in the country. That's where I enjoy it. I enjoy the country. I have to enjoy it. I live in it. I might as well. I mean, But I enjoy it personally. I'm not like saying, well, I had to. It's not like that.
Right.
No.
Right.
I really do enjoy it. I'm like the country, like not when hearing the cars honking all the time going, man, you know, that stuff.
So Sam, what would be
your cars fly by and not honk. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, turkey season's coming up. Deer season's happening. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm gonna get any time to do any of it this season, man.
I don't hunt, but I do fish. I will let you know that.
Okay.
So besides fishing, what other things do you consider to be fun, Sam? What do you consider to be a fun day for you?
A fun day. Well, any experience, a day at a trip, whether that be a big one, like, you know, if we're going down, so I'm gonna make a probably, I don't know.
Right.
If I go up to Kentucky for a day and it's a new place. It's a new place. Or I kind of struggle with traveling like more than twice to the same place. I never like that personally.
Right.
But I don't mind traveling there like at one time and coming back. I'm a big traveler. I like to travel. I've been to Texas, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee.
So you've been
Virginia,
a few
places. DC once. I've been there. I want to go back there sometime.
Right.
Yeah, DC is probably one of our favorite
and in Florida.
places to go. Around the 4th of July, that's probably the best place to be, I think.
Yeah. Hit just telling you right now, if you go anywhere to Florida, playing right now, go to Destin. There's tons of stuff to do, and it has the best seafood alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the only part I've been to was Orlando.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to Destin. Yeah, I don't think I've been down that way. But on a more serious note, you know, before we start wrapping this up, Sam, just talk to the audience. We talked about, you know, kind of what it looked like at the beginning and some of the challenges. Talk to us real quick about, you know, the treatment plan. How does that look for you? What does that look like? You know.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I know that you research, and I'm not dismantling. I respect what you said, but in my personal opinion, I mean, there are drugs and stuff that don't need to be treated, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't need to be, because without autism, I wouldn't be able to do some of this stuff. Right. Case in point, I wouldn't be able to make a podcast with autism.
Right.
Case in point, I wouldn't be able to be as creative.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
So in reality, the treatment needs to go to hell.
Right.
It really can.
And the reason I ask, because, you know, obviously there's a lot of theories and things out there about, you know, certain things. And you know, I know a few people with autism, and it always comes back to, you know, the treatment and things like that, without getting into the personal information. Right. But there's some, you know, some concerns about it and where it kind of come from. So I just wanted to get your personal views on that.
And you know what, Sam, you have
my personal views on what again? I'm sorry.
Oh, you answered it. Just your personal views on, you know, the treatment and what's out there, and, you know, if it's helping, or if it's, you know, if it's useful and things like that. And I think you already answered that for us.
I don't believe in the treatment, but I respect it.
Right.
I don't believe in it, but I respect it.
So Sam, we're gonna wrap this up a little bit. Sam, so before we actually end the podcast, do you have any inspiring words for our listeners today?
Well, it's not inspiring, but it's advice. If the road could...
so advice. That'll work
nice.
too.
Okay, cool. If the road could be nice and not be stupid, I think the road would get along a lot better.
Hey, Sam, and guess what? I agree with you.
It's so simple, but yet so powerful, man. You know, 100% agree with you.
So listen, Sam, Autism Awareness Month is in April, right? April?
Yes, sir. Okay,
so listeners, we expect y'all to actually support and donate in any kind of way to Alzheimer's Awareness Month. We hope that y'all are more aware of autism. We hope that this conversation with Sam change the stigma of autism and any other disorder. Sam, we would like to thank you very much for coming on the show, and hopefully we can get you back on the show, maybe around April, so we could talk a little bit more about it. Would that work for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you ever need me, I'm just a text away.
And Sam, I will be giving you another text. Sam, we appreciate you for being here on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Today.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Brother. Have a good one.
Sam, matter of fact,
Sam, it's been a pleasure being on the show.
Before you go, Sam, give the listeners tell the listeners how they can contact you for to check out your podcast and anything else.
Well, they can find me on any favorite. Gotcha. They can find me on any of their favorite media platforms. My website's autismrocksandrolls.com. That's where you can find everything, like even my cell number. So you definitely go there to start.
Okay. Sam, we want to thank you, man, and we appreciate you for being on this podcast.
Appreciate you, brother.
See you
Much
later,
love.
Sam.
Take care.